This bulletin proudly brought to you in association with Alex Campbell's Menswear.
Tonight on the South Today, workers' accommodation is at a pinch in central Otago, with locals saying it's an ongoing problem that isn't being addressed. Hundreds of high school age singers meet to vocally face off in Dunedin at the Big Sing competition. And more than 400 birds are on display in Balclutha at an annual poultry show. Kia ora, good evening, I'm Sophie Morris. Workers' accommodation is at a pinch in central Otago, with locals saying it's an ongoing problem which isn't being addressed. While a couple of residents in Wanaka and Queenstown feel fortunate to have found places to live, a cinema owner remembers living rough when he first arrived in Wanaka.
The no vacancy signs are once again out in force in central Otago, with accommodation for seasonal workers stretched to capacity. Queenstown resident Dre Hart says he's lucky to have found accommodation, but says it won't be easy for people heading to Central to work this winter season.
So personally for me in Queenstown, it was quite easy. We had viewing straight away, but I'd been looking over at Wanaka just out of curiosity, and it is an absolute nightmare, like talking to friends and talking to other people. I also had a quick look online and there would have been 40 to 50 listings available in Queenstown, whereas in Wanaka there was just one property on the whole site that had just been listed.
The annual problem wasn't an issue last year, with tourism shut down due to the global COVID-19 pandemic. However, over in Wanaka, Dave Thorne also feels fortunate to have found somewhere to live.
I know one of our team members for our new business, the Kiwi Artisan Co, was really struggling to find anywhere to live. So she ended up, I think, applying via a flat share with some friends and things like that. But I know she would have gone to about 50 or put in about 50 applications for whatever was available in Wanaka, and yeah, I think they all came up short, ended up flat sharing. But everyone wants to live down near town, near the lake, and yeah, they just need to move to Hawea, because Hawea is beautiful.
A long-term Wanaka resident and City Councillor Callum McLeod recalls it was a problem when he arrived in Wanaka with his wife around 40 years ago.
Andrea and I got here in 1989 and we spent 2 months in a tent in Hawea flat for May and June. We eventually found a place which we had to move out of for 2 weeks while the family came down and went on a skiing holiday. It's been a recurring theme. I think this year it's slightly worse. Because we've got such an influx of tourists from Australia, putting pressure on the Airbnb network, and people, if they can get $150 a night, why would they get $150 a week?
McLeod is also the proprietor of Wanaka's Cinema Paradiso and says the annual issue needs to be addressed on a national level.
And it's something that we need to work towards a discussion with major employers and council to find a positive solution.
Councillor McLeod says something needs to be done. In central Otago, the South Today.
The former Central Dunedin warehouse site is to become the new headquarters for the Otago Regional Council. The ORC has been hunting for a new premises for more than 15 years to rehouse office staff. Port Otago's property arm has confirmed today its purchase of McLagan Street site for $10.2 million to be repurposed into the council's offices. Port Otago Chief Executive Kevin Winters says they began talking with site owners Investor Property Limited as soon as the warehouse announced it was going to leave the premises. ORC Chief Executive Kevin Winters says the new site will accommodate the whole team in one location. The sale is expected to settle on August 31st. The Dunedin Town Hall was alive with the sound of youth during the Big Sing. The annual event attracts school choirs from around Otago and South Canterbury to put their lungs and vocal cords to the test.
Tuning up to take on all comers. About 460 pupils from 17 choirs at 13 Otago and South Canterbury schools take turns taking to the stage in the annual Big Sing choral competitions, Regional Coordinator Rosemary Tarbottom says, like many things, COVID-19 caused the cancellation of last year's event and says it's good to be back.
We missed it last year, and I think it hasn't had an effect on this year because there's so much that the choirs want to do, the schools want to do. They want to do their musicals. You know, some of them have pulled out because they're doing musicals instead, and so it's really compressed it, I think, for the schools, because they're so unsure of the COVID situation as well, whether we might have had another cancellation.
Almost 600 pupils took part the last time the event was held in 2019. Adjudicator Peter Watts came down from Auckland for the event to hand out some awards, but the main judgments are set to come later on.
So we've got one judge today, and he awards some of our local trophies. He doesn't make any announcements about the national finale. The choirs are all recorded professionally, and the recordings all go to Wellington, where another panel of 3 judges will listen to all the choirs from around New Zealand, and they'll get their final, I think it's about 22 or 24 choirs for the national finale, which is in August in Christchurch.
Some of those taking part admitted to having a few nerves ahead of the day's competition. But Tarbottom says the choirs returned for an evening session, which wasn't part of the judging and where they could let their hair down.
The gala concert tonight is, the judging's all finished, and so the choirs come and they just sing one song each, and they have a bit of fun, and then we present some certificates and some trophies, and then we sing the national anthem all together, and then we go home.
Best performance of a classical composition was won by Craighead Diocesan for River Song. Craighead also won the trophy for the Anything Else category for a piece called The Defining Moment. In Dunedin, the South Today.
A keen hunter shot a wild boar in Balclutha last night on his cell phone. Carwyn Macaulay was returning home from work just after midnight when he spotted the animal on Balclutha's main street. Not wishing to discharge a firearm in a public place, he instead chose to use his cell phone to capture the moment. He followed the large boar along Elizabeth Street and it eventually disappeared by the Clutha River. The Clutha District Council says it's unusual to get wild animals wandering around town, although the occasional sheep is reported. Over 400 caged birds went on display at the Poultry and Caged Bird Show in Milton recently. Showcasing a wide variety of fowl and small birds, the annual event attracts exhibitors from across the South Island.
The Milton Poultry and Cage Bird Club hosted its 75th show in the Milton Centennial Hall recently. Club Secretary Judith Waters says raising birds has been a long-running hobby for her family.
My parents showed birds because it was my father's hobby. It was his love, so I've been in it all my life, and he was the secretary, and when he suddenly passed, I stepped into the position. So I've now been the secretary for 19 years.
The event attracted a record 420 entries of all sorts of birds from across the South Island, and organisers were pleased with the turnout.
We have big Orpingtons, we have little canaries, cage birds, we have little bantams, so you have Wyandottes, Pekins, we've got Sussex, we've got an awful lot of birds.
Waters says bird shows such as this one have a strong following across the country.
It's a good hobby for people. They go to numerous shows, they have them all over New Zealand. They had 2 weeks ago a national show in Dunedin, and there's about 7 clubs in the South Island, and I couldn't tell you off the top of my head how many North Island clubs there are.
The award for Best in the Show went to a bantam bred by local man Peter Matheson. In Milton, the South Today.
Still to come on the South Today, volunteers get busy planting native trees in Oamaru, and fluorescent art is used to celebrate Matariki.
All new episodes of Put Some Colour in Your Life are now screening on Channel 39. Take a look at Australian artists and the techniques they use in their studio. Put Some Colour in Your Life, Tuesdays, 7:30.
A poorly maintained heat pump can lose up to 35% of its output. The Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner team are experts. Their specially developed chemical wash is totally biodegradable. Call Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner and get the job done by the professionals.
Hi, Lindsay here from Alex Campbell Menswear. We've opened another pop-up store in Invercargill. It's for a limited time. We're in D Street, 201, right beside the Lone Star. Come and check us out. We've got some fantastic deals for you. We've got moleskins, we've got every sort of shirt, worn ones, work ones, business, merino knitwear, jeans, trousers, you name it, the list goes on. It's such a big deal. Come and see us.
Alex Campbell Menswear, it fits.
Alex Campbell Menswear, pop-up store, D Street, Invercargill.
TV, our favourite babysitter, but it can be tough keeping up with what our tamariki are watching. Luckily, the Broadcasting Standards Authority has made some smart changes to the classification labels. Ooh! Plus changes to the time of day certain rated shows will air, and awesome new parental lock features, meaning your babysitter's job is safe. Find out more at safeviewing.co.nz.
What have you got?
Okay. Chicks World, Party Town, excellent.
Love it! Chicks World! Chicks World!
Welcome back. Almost a year after an Arrowtown teenager was killed in a car crash, a woman will appear before the court on multiple charges. 17-year-old Alana Walker died after the car she was in was involved in a collision last August. Earlier this year, police revealed their investigation into the crash was complete and they would be charging a woman in relation to the death. However, the woman was overseas and the charge could not be laid until she returned. Police have now confirmed a 22-year-old woman will appear in the Queenstown District Court later this month. She is facing 2 charges, aggravated careless driving causing death and aggravated careless driving causing injury. Family groups and other volunteers have been busy planting over 1,000 native trees and shrubs at the Waitaki Community Gardens. The plan is to create an area of native forest behind the Oamaru Public Gardens.
About 40 volunteers enjoyed time out in the sunshine over the weekend, with over 1,000 trees and shrubs ready for planting. Waitaki Community Gardens coordinator Rama Crosty says she's very pleased with the efforts people are making to restock the area between the public gardens and Fenwick Park with native trees.
We're planting a forest. It's so exciting. So this is a space that has always been part of the Community Gardens lease, and we're in our 12th year now, and we're finally moving into this area. It's essentially doubling the site, which is a little intimidating, but not. We're just taking the steps, and the first step is to bring things to life. We're wanting to create a native corridor that connects the public gardens with the dog park and beyond.
Care has been taken to choose plants that are endemic to the area.
We've got 14 different varieties of natives that are local to this area.
Further working bees are planned for Mondays and Wednesdays to complete the planting of the forest. In Oamaru, the South Today.
Fluorescent paint flowed in a squiggle art workshop held at the Invercargill Public Library on Saturday. The resulting glow-in-the-dark paintings are to go on display as part of upcoming celebrations of the Māori New Year.
Budding artists used the stars and Maori culture as an inspiration for a mural to be exhibited during this year's midwinter celebrations. Those who attended the workshop at Invercargill City Library were guided through their squiggle art session by local artist Steve Chernyshov.
It's a combination of art therapy and explaining what Matariki, the Māori New Year, is all about. And we started off with a discussion where we talk about what Matariki means and tried to figure out key words that we can then draw. And we've drawn a lot of key words, like for example, I do believe this might be a taniwha. And then we've used scissors to cut out the shapes and then overlaid them onto the picture down here. And then we've tried to draw around the shapes and add paint and colour, and especially fluoro art. So we've got paint that glows in the dark.
Using paint that will fluoresce under UV light, the squiggle art was about incorporating various ideas on the Māori New Year in a spontaneous way.
Sort of to relax within yourself and try to express yourself without feeling like you're pressured to try and perform or make something that's really, you know, like coherent. So it's allowed to be abstract, and the kids just let go and just painted these.
The glow-in-the-dark paintings are set to be exhibited early next month in conjunction with other Matariki celebrations around Southland. In Invercargill, the South Today.
After the break on the South Today, bookings for the upcoming Great Walk season are going fast, and we check out the weather.
All new episodes of Put Some Colour in Your Life are now screening on Channel 39. Take a look at Australian artists and the techniques they use in their studio. Put Some Colour in Your Life. Tuesdays, 7:30.
A poorly maintained heat pump can lose up to 35% of its output. The Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner team are experts. Their specially developed chemical wash is totally biodegradable. Call Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner and get the job done by the professionals.
Hi, Lindsay here from Alex Campbell Menswear. We've opened another pop-up store in Invercargill. It's for a limited time. We're in D Street, 201, right beside the Lone Star. Come and check us out. We've got some fantastic deals for you. We've got moleskins, we've got every sort of shirt, worn ones, work ones, business, merino knitwear, jeans, trousers, you name it, the list goes on. It's such a big deal. Come and see us.
Alex Campbell Menswear, it fits.
Alex Campbell Menswear, pop-up store, D Street, Invercargill.
MTF Finance can help you turn the key on your next vehicle with a loan made just for you. TCs and lending criteria apply.
Party town, excellent.
Love it! Chicks World! Chicks World!
Right.
Welcome back. Even with border restrictions in place, bookings for the upcoming Great Walk season are expected to be snapped up quickly. Bookings for the Milford track opened at 9:30 a.m. this morning. The Department of Conservation said the most popular slots were expected to be booked out within minutes. By lunchtime, most hut spaces on the Milford track for this summer were booked. Bookings for the Routeburn track open tomorrow morning and the Kepler on Thursday. And now recapping tonight's top stories on the South Today. Workers' accommodation is at a pinch in central Otago, with locals saying it's an ongoing problem that isn't being addressed. Hundreds of high school singers met to vocally face off in Dunedin at yesterday's Big Sing competition. And more than 400 birds have been on display in Balclutha at an annual poultry show. And now for a look at what's happening in tomorrow's ODT. Welcome, Hayden.
Good evening, Sophie. How are you?
Good evening. I'm very well, thanks. How are you?
Good footage of the Big Sing there. No doubt you were a bit of a star performer in that some years ago, I presume.
In it a little while ago, yeah.
Back in the day when you were a class act at St Hilda's, of course. St Hilda's?
St Hilda's, yeah.
Anyway, let's talk about the news. And my goodness, it has been a Tuesday and a half. The news is flying today. First of all, this huge announcement by the University of Otago today, revealing its grand plans for its health precinct, I think is the term, linked to the new Dunedin Hospital rebuild right next to us here. Close to $1 billion project, sort of the long-awaited addition or revamp of the medical school, and they're calling it a massive chance to almost reshape the entire heart of Dunedin. So I'm very eager to find out more details. We've got all the details and a nice big graphic all set for page 1 tomorrow.
Nice.
The other bit of news that'll be fascinating to a lot of people is the Otago Regional Council, after many years and many millions of dollars, have finally settled on a new home, and they're going to find a bargain, and they've found a bargain. It's the venue of the Central Dunedin Warehouse in their McLagan Street, which has been an online-only store for a while and is soon to close. So we'll have the latest details on what they're planning, hopefully, when they move into that office. And sport, always lots of good sport stories, as you know, and hopefully even more to come. Adrian Ciccone, a cricket writer, has looked at the New Zealand cricket team, doing great guns obviously in England, the third New Zealand team to win a series in England, so he's tried to name a combined team from those 3 tours. Very interesting. I'm sure there'll be some topics of debate around those selections, so lots and lots of good stuff. Page 1's going to look great, and I'm sure the inside pages will as well, Sophie. Fingers crossed.
All right, thank you, Hayden. And now for a look at the weather.
Tonight's weather proudly brought to you by Mole Map.
Beginning with the southern view, early evening in Dunedin. Looking at the situation, a cold southeasterly airflow will remain for a few days over southern districts, bringing periods of rain to most parts and snow on the ranges. Starting at the northwest of the South Island, rain in Greymouth with 14 degrees and showers and 13 in Westport. Moving to the northeast, mostly sunny in Nelson with 15 degrees and partial cloud and 14 in Blenheim. Moving down to Canterbury, partial cloud in Kaikoura with 13 degrees, scattered showers and 12 degrees in Christchurch, and showers and 11 in Ashburton. Heading to the southern towns, moderate southeasterlies, rain and 8 degrees in the Catlins, Balclutha, Lumsden and Gore. To the Central Lakes area, light winds and showers for most places with 9 degrees in Wanaka and Queenstown and 8 in Alexandra. Te Anau can expect moderate southeasterlies rain and 8 degrees. To the northern towns, light winds and showers with 10 degrees on the coast in Timaru and Oamaru and 9 degrees inland in Twizel and Omarama. In Dunedin, some rain tonight with southeasterly winds and a low of 8. Overcast tomorrow with light rain and drizzle. Cold with moderate easterly quarter winds, a high of 10 and a low of 8. Heavier rain on Thursday, still overcast with fresh gusty cold southwesterlies, a high of 9 and a low of 7. And in Invercargill, some rain tonight with a low of 7. Overcast tomorrow with rain easing to showers, and showers clearing later in the day as cold easterly winds ease, a high of 9 and a low of 6. Mostly cloudy and cold on Thursday with light southeasterlies, a high of 9 and a low of 6. That's all for our news this Tuesday. For the latest news from the southern region, head online to odt.co.nz or follow Channel 39 on Facebook and YouTube. Thanks for joining us. Ka kite anō.
This bulletin proudly brought to you in association with Alex Campbell's Menswear.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.